Hey guys, Marvin and Kid here. Welcome back to non-comic lineups, and back again. We are on episode 10 of the of this segment, winding down to the final episodes. Uh, but I'm here to do another lineup. This one actually comes from my friend Jacob Harper. He actually requested this, and he wanted me to do a non-comic lineup of the Masters of Evil. So, Masters of Evil of a different color. Now, as always, guys, what do? I always, with these, is give a little history lesson with the teams or whatever, however. And the Masters of Evil, pretty much came out around, then was first came out around the 1960s. I know the issue of the Avengers they first appeared in, which was none other than Avengers number 6. And the team was made up of the original Baron Zemo, Baron Heinrich Zemo, Black Knight, Melter, Radioactive Man, Enchantress, Executioner, and Wonder Man, who was really kind of a pawn in this whole thing. And pretty much they were put together, pretty much they were organized because basically Zemo wanted revenge on Captain America. That was pretty much his main gist. But of course, as always, over time and over the years, the team evolves. There has been, if my calculations are correct, there has been a total of 9 versions of the Masters of Evil. There have been the second Master of Evil was led by Ultron. The third Masters of Evil, I believe, Egghead was leading it. But I do remember when they all appeared. For example, the second version of Master of Evil debuted in Avengers number 54. The third Avengers team debuted in Avengers issue number 222. The fourth was in Avengers 270. The fifth Master of Evil debuted in Guardians of the Galaxy number 28. That was when Jim Valentino and Herb Trempe and I think Steve Mirando created that version. The sixth team was debuted in Incredible Hulk number 449, which Peter David wrote, and Mike Deodato was the artist. I remember that. The seventh was debuted in the Masters of Evil, which Mark Bagley, Kurt Bruschi, and them created. And the eighth Master of Evil debuted in Secret Avengers 21.1, which Rick Miranda and them created. But as always, guys, let's get into this lineup. I kind of stuck with I did maybe a few more members than the original lineup. The original lineup was only 7 members. I went 3 more members, so a 10-member team. But let's get right into it. The first in the lineup is none other than Chase Young from Shaolin Showdown. Chase Young, as always, he was a very, very powerful foe for the team, and even one of the other big villains of the group, Wuya, was scared of this guy, and he was very manipulative because he actually tried to manipulate Oni, one of the warriors, into joining him and things like that. So Chase Young being on the Master of Evil makes perfect sense, in my opinion. Okay. So moving on to the next, and this is probably somebody you probably don't recognize. If you don't recognize, I'll explain a little bit of her. This is Diva, or Diva. She is from the anime manga known as Blood Plus. in the series, there was a character, the main protagonist, Saya, was is kind of like a vampire-esque character, but she grew up in a peaceful home and had a loving family. This is her sister, and let's just say she didn't have any of that. So she is she's a bad girl. Let's just put it like that. She's done some shit in that series that was just like, god damn, like, it was like she killed Saya's brother, turned him into kind of a half demon. It was crazy. A lot of crazy stuff happened that she just did for fun, just because she could do it. But yeah, Diva definitely makes the list in my opinion. So we move on to the eighth member, and this would kind of be, in a sense, kind of the where kind of the finance and the money of the team would come from, and that's none other than Mr. Geese Howard. Yeah, Geese Howard. You guys forget, if you don't know Geese. Geese Howard is very rich. He's a very powerful man, and gets his ways when he want. He definitely. Similar to Lex Luthor, the only difference is he's a badass without a suit of armor. He is probably one of Terry Bogard's deadliest enemies, or one of them. And Geese Howard is he's a dick. Let's just put it like that. And when I mean dick, I mean it because the guy didn't even give two licks or two shits about his son. It's just how he is. He's a dick. But yeah. And so moving on to the next, we move on to kind of the brains. That would be kind of more the brains of one of the brains of the big brains, and brings all the technology to this Master Review, and that's Kagato from Tenchi Muyo. Kagato was a character in the Tenchi Muyo series that was one of the big bads of the Muyo series. He was actually a student of Washu, and Washu in the Tenchi Muyo is like the smartest person in the galaxy. So he learned under Washu, and he learned very well, and boy, he made you believe that this guy was a major threat indeed. So he's brains and brawn. And you talk about going extremely a threat. This is the next quote. Legato Blue Summer from Trigon. Oh man. Legato tortured the hell out of Vash in that series. He is a super aggressive telepath. This guy made Vash do some things that he didn't want to do, and the only way Vash could literally stop him was if Vash killed him. But could you imagine him being on a Masters of Evil team and causing problems for Earth's mightiest heroes? Yeah. And as always, guys, you're gonna need kind of the brawn of a supervillain team, and most of the time, most supervillain teams have that. But I went with a double threat, and that's none other than the duo itself from Mortal Kombat, Farah and Tor. You have this giant brute with this psycho little girl on its back, and she's just as dangerous as the brute. What more could you want? What more could you want? And so we move on to a next, and we're talking about none other than Mum-Ra. Mum-Ra, ever-living source of evil. Yes, indeed. Mum-Ra is a major threat. Very powerful. The only problem is his biggest weakness is his own appearance. And he can't really be out of his tomb for too long before he needs to recharge his tomb. But he also has he's not very trusting even with his fellow evil members. He's kind of like a loner, but when he does team with people, it is kind of a threat, because he's a threat by himself, but when he's with somebody else, yeah. And we talk about another threat, we move on to the next member, and that's none other than Mr. M. Bison himself, the leader of Shadow Law, the wielder of psycho power, nutbag, extremist, terrorist, killer of several people. He's killed Chun-Li's father. He's supposedly killed Guile's good friend Charlie. He's done a lot in the Street Fighter universe. A very imposing threat he is, and I could see him a part of the Masters of Evil. But also another guy with a huge ego, so definitely. And last but not least, who I feel would lead this team, this new Masters of Evil, is none other than Mirage. Mirage, as you all know, is from the Aladdin animated series. She was my favorite of the villains. Very powerful antagonist. She has gone under several names. She is the Queen of Evil, alias aka Evil Incarnate. She was one of the most powerful foes Aladdin has faced. She's up there with Jafar and Mosenrath. She could be even stronger and more dangerous than both of them. She is basically loosely based off of the Egyptian goddess Bassetel, and but she was very powerful, and there were times it makes you wonder like how Aladdin was able to defeat her, because she had everything you can think of. She had immense dark powers. She can conjure up illusions. She had control over other monsters. She was highly intelligent, and she was a very dangerous opposition and antagonist for Aladdin. One of my favorite quotes about her was, "You scratch a hero deep enough and you'll find a coward inside." That right there makes you like, whoa. She enjoyed watching her victims suffer, and yeah. So yeah, she would definitely be leading this team. You talk about somebody who is unsurprisingly cruel, sadistic, and sarcastic at the same time. You're talking about Mirage. So there you guys have it, my lineup for the Masters of Evil. I usually would tell who requested this at the end, but I already did. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my lineup. Got 3 more for this season, and it'll be wrapped up. But other than that, guys, you take care, and I will see you guys next time on Non-Comic Lineup. Take care.